You have the right to remain silent. Keep your voice trapped in solitary confinement. Guilty until proven innocent is what we use. Let's make America great again like we used to do. Bow down to the blue flag, because that is your new owner. I feel like reaching in my holster, but there's another trick up my sleeve, for I am the criminal justice system, notorious to deceive. The way it's legal to hold us captive for profit chills my bones, dressed up in new laws but are really just the same clothes, how original Jim Crow. You're disguised, but now you've been identified. You can take our rights but can't take our brains inside, so got the last names of our old slave owners, but still we wear our veins with pride. Our resistance is existent, chokes up and spits out in 6 minutes. You're a new episode of the same show, same station, just a new radio, blaring the sounds of slave chains, the pain of black skin restrained behind cold prison bars. It's insane, so disgusting, it's beyond racism. Face pounded to the ground, read the rights that aren't there, except the right to remain silent. You are in need of a new way to keep America's economy going. It's illegal to own slaves now, so what do you do in a country that thrives on the exploitation of oppressive labor? The answer is mass incarceration. American slavery made the U.S. financially successful. And today, private prisons are the new slave owners using exploitation to uphold America's economy. We were taught that the 13th Amendment marked the end of slavery, but the 13th Amendment states, quote, "Slavery, except as a punishment for crime, shall not exist within the United States." So, after America was literally built by the hands of black people, slavery was gone, except as a punishment for crime. See, before black people were freed in 1863, white people were the ones committing crimes. Only they were given nice beds and even Bibles to reflect on their actions to come out of jail as better people. But for former slaves, why spend money to rehabilitate them when there's still more money to be made off of them? It's written right there in the 13th Amendment. So here we are today where no one can own slaves anymore, but they can lease them through our prison system. Walnut Grove was a manufacturing town in Mississippi, but after its plants closed, there were few jobs and little money circulating. But in 2001, an inhumane private prison for children was built, called the Walnut Grove Youth Correctional Facility. Residents opposed the facility until they realized the economic opportunity it would bring. Next thing you know, everyone had a job in Walnut Grove, and a new library, police force, and fire department emerged. It gets worse when you learn that the 13 to 19-year-old inmates were raped, neglected, and abused. Rather than giving their sophomore speeches, these kids were forced by prison guards to have sex with them for food and phone privileges. Imagine living in this nightmare where 80% of the kids being urinated on, stabbed, and even killed were black. What does this say about the small town? Or about private prisons? About the nation's criminal justice system? Private prisons cut corners and cheat the law, all while flashing the money they make from every prison cell oozing of bodily fluids and self-worth. Tom Beasley, the co-founder of Core Civic, a company that owns tons of private prisons, said in 1988, "You just sell prisons like you were selling hamburgers." This motivated businesses to buy into prisons that were busting at the seams of black people in the 80s and 90s like it was nothing. In fact, Core Civic was the best performing stock in the New York Stock Exchange after President Trump won the election in 2016, and made $1.7 billion for keeping prison cells full. Let's step back into the shoes of an incarcerated person. An innocent black teen, to be exact. Khalif Browder was only 16 when he was arrested for allegedly stealing a backpack in the Bronx. After his family couldn't afford to bail him out, he was sent to Rikers Island, New York's largest jail. He spent 800 days in solitary confinement, violently beaten to the point where he attempted suicide more than once. His case was finally dismissed in 2013, but our criminal justice system had already done its damage. Khalif killed himself. So I'm hoping you see now the American economy for what it really is. There aren't whips or nooses hanging from plantation trees anymore, but can't you still hear the chains clanging? The violence, rape, and death, all to make money for white-owned corporations? Many problems in this world stem from money, and it's disgusting how far people go to solve these problems. So I'm not just talking about mass incarceration, I'm talking about the fact that we've legalized white supremacy and greed. Money doesn't grow on trees, it grows on oppression. So the problem isn't that we need more change. The problem is that the system was specifically designed to yield injustice to black people. Our country doesn't even confront this issue unless it's forced to. We can't make a more perfect union when it was never perfect, and it's not about improving a nation when the answer is the birth of a new one. Until then, you have the right to remain silent. Thank you.